Why do we have to create a transnational union? An institution that has the power, as I will explain, to impact the laws of the United States of America. It's not necessary. According to the trade representative who's negotiating and advancing this legislation on behalf of President Obama and who's advocating for it, it will be a living agreement. And that means that the entity itself, the commission, will then be entitled to make it say different things, eliminate provisions it doesn't like, add provisions it does like. In fact, the commission is required to meet regularly and to hear advice for changes from outside groups, from inside committees of the commission, so that they can update the situation to change circumstances. It is a breathtaking event. It says it's designed to promote the international movement of people, services, and products. Basically the same language used to start the European Union. In fact, I have referred to it as a nascent European Union. I don't think that's far off base. Well, it's not just a trade agreement with one friend and ally, South Korea. It's 12 nations in the Pacific. As soon as that is inked, we've been told and brought forward for passage in the Congress. And historically, if we give trade promotion authority, the agreements have always passed that are presented. Once that one's done, we will have a transatlantic agreement. And this transatlantic agreement, I suppose, also will have some sort of commission, a transatlantic union with powers to discipline and set rules outside the powers of the United States Congress. And then there's going to be a services agreement that's already been talked about. It's been leaked. Somebody leaked it. The other two are secret and can't be seen by the American people. Some of my colleagues have been saying that the Trade Promotion Authority that the President is so desperately seeking, he's been hammering and bludgeoning his members in the Senate and the House to get them to not vote their conscience, but vote with what he wants. They say we should pass it because it restricts the power of the President. Well, give me a break. If this were true, why would the President want it? If he could do all this he wants to do without Congress, why isn't he doing it anyway? The entire purpose of Fast Track is for Congress to surrender its power to the executive branch for 6 years. Legislative concessions include control over the content of the legislation. The President negotiates it. He brings it back. We can't amend it. He controls the content of it. The power to fully consider the legislation on the floor. It's filed on one day, voted the next day. The power to keep debate open until Senate cloture is invoked. On any other legislation, you have to get cloture vote. So together, TPP, TTIP, and TISA, these three trade agreements that we know are going to be advanced on the fast track, represent the goal of advancing the unrestricted global movement of goods and people and services. The European Commission, this is how they started, how they were formed, explains, so the European Commission is explaining now TISA, the second, presumably the second major trade agreement that would be submitted after the Pacific Agreement. Then we'd move to the Pacific, European realm. And this is how they explain what it means. Quote, TISA is open to all WTO members, World Trade Organization members, who want to open up trade in services. China and Uruguay have asked to join the talks. The EU supports their applications. TISA, of course, is the services agreement. And apparently it'll be worldwide. Anybody, even China, could be admitted to it. And the European Union Commission specifies that this services agreement, TISA, will be modeled on the General Agreement on Trade in Services, GATS. And this provides insights into how TISA will affect U.S. immigration procedure. When the United States became a member of the WTO in 1994, it signed on to the GATS and committed to issue certain numbers of work visas each year, immigration visas. Congress's ability to control the United States' temporary entry programs has therefore been curtailed, as it would open up the United States to foreign lawsuits in an international tribunal. In other words, they made an agreement on immigration visas under work ideas as part of GATS and the WTO, and it violates and complicates our ability to enforce American immigration law. What about this union? What kind of powers is it that we're talking about? I'm of the belief, since the president hasn't been a strong advocate of trade and his supporters, many of them oppose this kind of trade agreement, I'm becoming to believe that the primary part of his understanding of the importance of this legislation and why he's breaking arms and heads over it is the union, this international commission that has powers that he believes will allow him to advance agendas. So for too long, the United States has entered into trade deals on the promise of economic bounty, only to see workers impoverished, industries disappear, manufacturing jobs decline, and we've been on a steady decline in manufacturing jobs.